what was he looking at? What did he see? You know what I'm saying? He was 27 years old. He was an entrepreneur. He was a CEO. So he wasn't dumb. From my understanding, he was from Texas, and I think she also may have been from Texas or something like that. And he studied communications, and he was a smart man. So I'm wondering, did he ever get to a point where he researched a little bit about the women that he dated prior to dating them? You know what I'm saying? Or was he just one of those kind of people where he was very superficial himself?
Yeah. And unfortunately, I don't know if he had much of a online presence really.
Yeah, because I
I'm
never heard
not
of him.
really yeah, I mean either. And that was another thing. When I first came across this story, it was because of the Shade Room, and they first posted about just that it happened. And I saw it or whatever, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And I always go to the comments. And when I went to the comments, that's when I saw people saying, so the other people knew of them. I have never heard of them before, but other people knew of them in some type of capacity, because I went to the comments and all I saw was, well, oh well, like people were like just kind of being really cold hearted, like, oh well, like, and stuff like that. And I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, what's going on? And finally one of the comments said, black women, this is not our fight. Let's sit this one out. And then someone said, this is the Christian Toby guy, blah, blah, blah. And then that's when the next story came out a few days later about his brother kind of asking for the support of the community. And, that's when the tweets came out and all of that. And I'm like, oh, okay. I see now. So yeah, I don't know what his social media presence was or how people knew him, like how they came across his tweets and stuff. I'm not really sure prior to him passing. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting though, like just in general, like how they got together and like all of that. Like how did that even happen? And what made him want to, I mean, yeah, okay, she's white and that's what you seem to like, but like it seemed like maybe just from reading about him, like he might have been doing okay, for himself or whatever, and would have continued to be successful. And not to demean what she was doing, because I don't know what she was doing on OnlyFans. I had no idea, but it just seems like maybe he had a lot to offer.
Well,
So
that actually kind of is interesting in itself because they were young. With him being 27 and her being 25. I mean, that's a really good age to be in the positions that they said that they were in at the time. And well, she's still in that position. But for the young man that passed, they said his net worth was 2.3 million. But I didn't have anything to really back that. I think I just pulled up on one article I was reading or whatever. But I just thought that was interesting. And then as far as the GoFundMe account that his family set up to, I'm not sure what it was to cover, maybe lawyer fees or something related to that. So I don't know, why they set up the GoFundMe, but I guess that maybe I don't know, because what I'm saying, this is a high profile situation. I'm sure she has a lot of power on her end too to deal with this. So maybe that's why they were asking for help as
this is
well.
not a legit GoFundMe, like a lot for whatever reason, people do that all the time, like make these fake GoFundMes or whatever to like get money from someone's situation. So unless it's a fake one,
Hmm.
Yeah, that is curious because his network being like that, you would think you know it would be enough to cover it, but his money might be tied into to different assets or different things, and if he doesn't, it might be to where it might be on hold to where the family
yeah,
really can't get a hold of it to
yeah.
necessarily bury him or pay lawyer fees, paying for all this, so
But then too, y'all gotta remember too now that high rise that they said they were living in down in Florida, they said I think the least expensive apartment there was like $700,000, and it goes all the way up to 4.2 million. So somebody had some money somewhere.
So hold on, I wonder
mm,
where they renting
Yeah.
their. So I guess could you rent those or you have to buy those? I wonder.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Gracious.
I mean, I could only imagine what the rent is for something like that though. That's probably
Yeah.
if you rent that, you might well go and buy this.
And then I'm trying to figure this out too. If you're the neighbor, and because like I said, prior to this happening, they said that the police was called on him, I guess, several times. And then of course he brought out a good point. Why was he never arrested? Where are the records showing that, I guess, if the police was called to the place that many times by either one of them, where are the records showing where somebody was hit or was somebody ever taken in, or where is that at?
Yeah, because usually, I mean,
Yeah.
I think in domestic situations, if the police are called, like, I think they usually, correct me if I'm wrong, do they usually, I mean, of course, within reason, obviously, if the man has all these marks on him and stuff and the woman doesn't, then they wouldn't take the man to jail. But don't they usually kind of take the man to jail if that happens? Usually.
I
Mm,
I,
I
I
think
could.
most of the time, I believe so.
Well, I
And I
think something just recently came out and said, hey, if the man said he got hit and the woman said she got hit too, they take both of them to jail. Well,
Yeah, I've heard that before
Both
too,
got
yeah,
them in
I've
actually.
heard
trouble.
that too.
Yeah. Like if they are
And then
fighting or whatever. Yeah.
and I was wondering too, like the day the incident happened, they were saying that she didn't show any signs of any type of bruising or anything. And I
great
think
point.
Yeah.
what I read, she was supposedly pushed and choked.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But I feel like if you,
No, she
and
was.
not to cut you off, nothing like that, but
mhm.
I feel like if you were choked and if something was happening to you in that moment, and then you stab this person. First of all, you supposed. I mean, eh, everybody reacts differently, but for one, you would think you would be more shocked, and two, you would think there would be some type of markings on your neck or some
Right.
showing
Most
something of a
definitely.
struggle.
Yeah.
It
Definitely.
didn't come across as a struggle. It just came across of you based probably catching them off guard or something like that. Because I mean, again, where is the even forget that day if this been abused on supposedly both sides, where are the history of the documents of it? Where are the markings and everything like that? That's just curious to me.
Yeah. And I was researching to see like if he had been arrested because and then I was talking to Corey about that or whatever earlier, and I'm like, well shoot, had he been arrested though, they do this all the time with stories about us, especially when we're the ones that are victims. Especially like, by police or whatever, like they will find our mugshots
Mhm.
and
Mm.
everything, anything negative, whether we what I'm saying, accidentally ran over a dog back in 2002, whatever. They're going to find all of that, what I'm saying? And then the opposite, if the white person, or, what I'm saying, is the person that did the crime, pretty much, they're going to go back and find a science fair picture from 6th grade with them in that volcano or something where they just look so sweet, and like to try to make it seem like they're not harmful or whatever, like they're not aggressive or whatever the situation might be. So I was like, I mean, if he had been arrested, they haven't come out with that yet, so I'm thinking that maybe he wasn't, because I didn't find anything about any like arrest, for him or whatever.
He,
um and that's just
he
interesting to
couldn't have
me
been.
that a white woman would call the police on a black man and he not get arrested. So either they could see then as well that he, nothing was wrong and, whatever, or maybe like when the police came, like she was like, oh, never mind or something like that. I don't know. But I thought that was interesting.
Man, I'm gonna tell y'all something else, man. This right here is what kind of stood out to me as well. I mean, he doesn't seem to be like a really small guy. Um, and I'm sure she's, being a OnlyFans model and stuff like that. She's probably not that big. But from what I can see on the photos, they don't, what I'm saying? She doesn't look to be like big enough to overpower him. And I'm not saying that to be sexist or anything like that, but I guess I'm saying like I'm trying to figure out at what point did the knife come out? And I mean, what I'm saying? Like, where did, if you were being pushed, choked, or whatever it may be, where, what I'm saying? Like, did you have the knife on standby or something? Like, what, like, where did you
Right.
get, what I'm saying? How were you able to get the knife in that point in time?
Yeah.
Good question.
That's a good question.
Like, was it an argument? And then, I mean, I think their friends, like their mutual friends, said that they um had issues, like they had a lot of issues or whatever, but they said that she was, always hitting him when she would get what is it, mad or high, I guess, like at the same time. So I don't know what drugs she was doing or whatever, but yeah, they would say that she was always hitting him and that they've never seen him hit her, but the neighbor said that he saw him hit her. So I don't know, but I don't know if a knife was necessarily needed. She could have been mad and high in this particular moment, though. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if they did a drug test on her or not. I'm not sure.
Playing the devil's advocate, he could have been drunk or high as well. Now, how he ended up being the one that's killed in the end, I mean, this could go so many different ways. I mean, it's just so many ways to look at it. But it's just really strange. I mean, and I hope that we a lot of people we can get some closure from this, because this is really strange. It's a really strange story. But I think the hardest part is that no one was inside of the home. Everything is being, the evidence that we have is coming from the outside, and then a lot of he say, she say, and it's going to be hard, in my opinion, to crack this case, because if you wasn't standing there and you don't have any video of the actual crime, how can you prove if she did it because she just murdered him, or she actually did do it because it was a domestic violence situation and she responded to that?
Yeah, I just think it's just, and going back to what you all said, it's just funny how she really hasn't been arrested or anything like that. But the evidence, if you just take it, just on his face, just on the surface, I mean, you have this person that's saying, oh, they got into an argument, but then they still haven't said there was any signs of argument. You have this picture of her covered, in blood and everything like that. You have the mutual friends saying that, they had issues, and she was the one always hitting him or whatever. And even with the neighbors, they're saying, oh, they seen it hit her, but at the same time, you only got this picture conveniently, of her. You don't, nothing is going towards his, on his end of this alleged abuse that he was dishing out to her. So I just find it crazy how all the evidence is going to her. It's going to her basically murdering him. Yet, they're just trying to act like it was, self-defense. I feel like it was the other way around. If it was, if basically, if it was the other way around and he was covered in her blood, and the friends were saying all this or whatever, it didn't matter what the neighbors would say or whatever. His ass would have been in jail. You know what I'm saying? He would have been, had the handcuffs on right then. They would have drug him out there, bloody shirt and all. Like, it's just crazy.
And you're so right about that. It kind of brings you back to the story that me and Cece was talking about earlier. You was telling me about one of your friends that was in a situation similar to this, where she tried the other side and it didn't really work out.
What my friends was getting into having domestic issues or whatever.
Yeah, I think we spoke about that earlier when you was talking about the young lady that dated the white guy that was playing the music loud.
Oh yeah. He like I said, she was able to call the police, and they he did get arrested.
And that was interesting, because I remember you were saying, that she thought in the beginning that he was one way, and then it turned out that he was a different way. And that's interesting too. And when you think about that, how things start out for people and how it can end up with somebody being killed or somebody being jailed or somebody being hurt in the end. And I think this conversation in itself is a good lesson for people that are listening. That if you want, or if you're in search of love and you're trying to find love, and of course, I mean, I'm not a therapist or anything like that I can give people all this advice about love, but I will say that I don't think that love has a shade to it. I think you can find it where you find it. And I think that you should not, because if you do find it somewhere else, that you should turn your back on where you come from and say, well, hey, they just ain't worth this or that because I found it somewhere else. I'm going back to what Cece said originally about in her statement that, it's a lot of great Black women. There's a lot of bad or not so great Black women. There's a lot of great white women. And there's a lot of not so great white women. And I think that just because you find your love in one place or another, and that's any race, that you should not turn your back and denounce your own people because of that. And that's just
absolutely. And I mean, color needs to be more than color should be a prerequisite for who you're going to date. Yes. It should be other qualities on your list other than their color. So
I agree. Even though she made it clear that she's only dating the rich Black men. I just think that was crazy. Saying that I don't know if he saw that or maybe it didn't bother him because he already had the money or something. But but again, I hope that we can find some justice for this young man and his family, if indeed she was the aggressor. And if she was not the aggressor, then I guess all of this will come to the light.
Yeah. Well, I guess if they do their investigation or whatever, and that's I think, and I guess that's what his family wants. I mean, obviously they want justice for him, and I think they just want them to actually try to investigate the case. I guess it's just like they're not really doing that at all right now. And I mean, everybody deserves that, I think, so that it can be put to rest, because I mean, what if they did find that, in some crazy way that this was self-defense? I don't know how, but I mean, anything is possible. So, and then, hopefully like he can get justice if it was not, though. So.
All right.
First, I want to thank you guys too for just coming on today and just, sharing your thoughts. I think this was a great conversation. And again, like I said, we are not people that are just like these expert therapists about these situations. We're just giving our opinions and kind of just going over some of the facts that we were able to discover or see or learn about in this situation. And I guess as things unfold, we can come back and maybe do a part 2 of this, maybe. I guess it's up to the panel and if they want to do that.
Of course, yeah.
I definitely want to see what happens with this story. So yeah, I would love to come back and do a part 2 after more information comes out.
Okay, great. Well,
it's gonna be a twist.
Well,
that would be crazy.
I guess we could probably end it here. Just want to give again a special thanks to everyone that's on the panel. I want to give the people that are listening to this a big thank you for just taking your time to listen to us. We appreciate your time because we know that it is limited and it is very valuable. But with that being said, I am Swavor. This is Opinionated Facts. And until next time, peace.